Good morning, Key Stage 1, and welcome to your final day of writing on your Little Red Riding Hood unit. We have reached the final day, and today you are going to be publishing your writing to make it into a story. To be successful today, I can write in sentences with a capital letter and full stop. They will also need to be sentences that make sense. I can also use neat cursive handwriting and finger spaces. I can even include the past tense, speech, apostrophes, that was apostrophes for possession, and adjectives. So you're including everything that you have learnt about in this topic into your final piece of work. To start with, we have some retrieval, and that is your handwriting practice today, because you will need to make sure that your handwriting is perfect when you are publishing your story. So we have a sentence that you are going to be practicing, and that sentence is the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And this is a really special sentence because it has every single letter from the alphabet in it. So you will be practicing every letter. What you need to do is make sure that you copy it with your neatest cursive handwriting. You take your time with it. You make sure that your handwriting sits on the line and you're joining your writing together. So you can just watch me do it first. I'm going to be copying the spellings, making sure my handwriting is cursive and that it sits on the line. Notice how I'm not rushing it, I'm taking my time with it. When you finish your sentence, make sure you end it with a full stop and then try and write the sentence out again. So you'll have 5 minutes to do this task. Remember, you don't need to rush it. Take your time with it. It's much better if it's neat and that you don't rush it. So 5 minutes, write this sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog as many times as you can using your neatest cursive handwriting. Pause the video, and when your 5 minutes is up, you can play the video again. In today's lesson, you are going to be publishing your work. So that is writing a neat version of the story that you have written. So I've got 2 pieces of published work here. And you need to think about which one has been published to a higher quality, which one has been published better. Talk to your adult. Which one do you think has been published better? And explain your answer. Why do you think it has been published to a higher quality? So it was this one that was published to a higher quality. And this is what you're aiming your writing to look like. So we have some do's and we have some don'ts of when you are publishing your work. I've also got our little checklist up here as well, because all of this will need to be included in your work too. So for your do's, you need to read your work carefully. So make sure you read every single sentence before you write it down. You need to think before you write. So you need to try and get it right the first time. Try and make as little mistakes as possible. You need to use your neat cursive handwriting and make sure you're using your finger spaces as well. You need to remember your capital letters and full stops and other punctuation. You need to remember that we've been looking at question marks, exclamation marks, speech marks and apostrophes for possession too. Some of you will even put your commas in the right places. And you need to try your very best to spell words correctly. So if you've corrected some of your red and green words in your writing, make sure you copy the correct version. Okay, and over here we have the version that hasn't been published very well. So we've got a few don'ts as well to make sure you don't do these things when you are doing your writing. So make sure you don't scribble. If you have made a mistake, that is okay. Mistakes happen. Just rub it out if you can, or if not, put a really neat line through the middle of it. Try not to rub out too much, because if you rub out lots and lots, it makes your writing hard to read and it sometimes can make holes in the paper. So we don't want to rub out too much. And don't use your red pen. I know we've used red pens a lot for editing, or it might have been a different coloured pen to edit, but when you do your published writing, make sure it's just in pencil, or if you want to, you can try using a pen to write. So when you publish your work, I'm going to make sure that this checklist is ready for you to see, because this is so important to have all of this in your writing. Over here, I have my writing, which has been edited a lot. I've corrected my spellings, I've added in my adjectives, I've made it better. Now I need to make sure I copy it correctly when I'm publishing my work. So I need my title at the top, which is Little Red Riding Hood. I'm taking my time with it, making sure I'm spelling it correctly, making sure my handwriting's good. Making sure I've got all my capital letters for my name where it needs to be. So now I've got my title of Little Red Riding Hood. What you need to do is underline it with a ruler, but I don't have a ruler, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Then I want to leave a line before I start writing my next paragraph. And if you can, try and leave a line between every paragraph today. So between your red and orange paragraphs, leave a little line. So I'm going to correct my work and make sure I'm writing the correct spelling of once with a capital letter. So it's O, N, C, E, and I'm copying my correction there. Once upon, finger space. Once upon, finger space, a finger space time. Then I've got the word there. I need to make sure I'm spelling the correct there. So I'm looking at my red word there. THERE. Once upon a time there was, with the correct spelling, WAS. There was a, and I put in the word brave. I called her a brave girl, so I'm going to write brave girl. Making sure I'm using my finger spaces and my neat handwriting. Called. And then making sure I'm using capital letters for her name. Little. Red. Riding Hood. And now I've reached the end of my sentence, so I need to make sure I have got my full stop. And there you go, that's how I would publish my work, taking it one sentence at a time, make sure I read it carefully, I know what I'm writing before I write it down. Now it is your turn to publish your writing. So I've got my tick list here, making sure you start every sentence with a capital letter and you use your capital letters for names as well. Use your cursive handwriting, make sure you've got finger spaces, full stops, or if you need to, question marks and exclamation marks. Make sure you read it. Don't tick or fix it, but check it in your head. But remember, no red pens for this one. Make sure you are writing in the past tense, unless it is speech. You use your speech marks or your inverted commas, and you use apostrophes to show possession. I've also got my checklist here of the things to do, so do read your work carefully, and that's before you write it and after you have written it. Think before you write, so try to get it right the first time. Use your neat cursive handwriting and remember your finger spaces. Remember your capital letters and full stops and your other punctuation, and try really hard to spell those words correctly. You can print out the pieces of paper again if you have access to a printer. So remember, there's 3 different ones. There's one with the pictures, there's one with bigger lines, and there's one with smaller lines if you've got teeny tiny handwriting. Or if you don't have access to a printer, just any lined paper will do. You can write in pencil or you can give it a go writing it in pen if you would like to. The last thing I would suggest is putting on some calming music. So piano music is nice. All the children listen to that in their classes and it just helps to calm them down and just write it nice and slowly and be really focused. It's your turn to write it now, so pause the video, rewrite your story, publish it so it is beautiful. Good luck, you will be amazing. What incredible writing, everyone. You have published a beautiful story. So, our plenary then. My question for you to discuss is, do you think you have been a successful writer today? So, have you been a good writer? Have you done really, really amazing writing? So, we've got some sentence starters here that you can use to help you. I think I have or haven't been a successful writer because I included something in my writing which makes my writing good because, or I worked really hard on something by doing something, which means. So, what does that mean for your writing? Pause the video, have a chat with your grown up, and tell them why you have been such a successful writer today. Time for your reflection, and you have worked so hard on this unit. You should be really proud of yourself. So, today you were publishing your writing. Think in your head, can you write in sentences that have a capital letter and a full stop? Can you also use your neat cursive handwriting and finger spaces? And can you even include the past tense, speech, apostrophes, and adjectives in your writing? Well done if you could include all of that. So that is the end of our writing for Little Red Riding Hood, and you deserve a massive round of applause because you have done so well in your writing. So give yourselves a round of applause now. Well done, everyone. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next week to do some new and exciting learning.